A couple of weeks ago, I did a webinar for Relocation Agent Network all about the value of the premium market. And the feedback that I had was quite a lot of people were surprised at how valuable it was. They didn't realize it. And in fairness, you wouldn't unless you'd looked into the actual information, the stats underneath it like I have. So I wanted to share some of what we went through then, now with you. The first thing I want to show you is what I call the mirage. It's a bit cheesy, but this is from Land Registry, a number of sales in each price point in England and Wales, just color coordinated to show whether most of them happen, which is probably what you'd expect it to be around the average house price point, right? And I don't suspect anyone actually does that, but I think when most people set up their estate agency, they focus on where most of the churn happens in the industry, which is around the average house price. So that makes sense so far. However, the reason I think it's a mirage is because that's not actually where the value is, dare I say. So if we looked at the same information, but just assume for the minute that that's a 1% fee is applied to all of those properties. So 1% times the number of properties that are sold at those price points, and that gives you this. So the bit you need to look at here really is on the right-hand side. And again, you can see how that color has changed. And the value really happens here. If you can see my mouse, from £400,000 or £500,000 upward is where it really gets quite interesting. The other thing to think about here is if you think about your own market, where are most of the competitors fighting? Is it in this premium market, or are most of the agents in your town or area competing in this market here, the residential, the volume market? I suspect that volume market is where most agents are fighting it out. So let me just go a level deeper with this, because as you might expect, 1% flat fees all the way up and down the market isn't what happens in reality. What happens in reality is this. So this is taken from Simon Ledbetter from Unchained Marketing. He does something called the Voice of the Agent survey, which surveys 800, more than 800 actually, agents across the country, asks them a variety of different questions. One of them is this, and it gives us the data about what fees agents charge at what price points. And that is what I'd have expected it to be, is that the higher up the market you go, the higher the fee percentages are. And of course you multiply a higher fee percentage with a higher price point, and you get a much more lucrative business model. So let's put those fees into what we were just talking about, and just to underline it, you can see just how drastically more valuable that premium market really is compared to the volume market. So I'm not saying anyone's in the wrong market necessarily, I just think that some people aren't necessarily in the right market, which is this premium one. To explain what that really means, and because a lot of people think of the premium market as a bit of a niche, and I understand why they'd say that, because if you look at transactions, just say for now, over £500,000 and above, that only represents 17% of all of the sales that happen in the entire marketplace. However, those account for 51% of all of the fees. So every single estate agency fee that everyone is chasing in the entire industry, 51% of those only are available at properties over £500,000 and above. So when we think of the premium market as a niche market, actually it's the other way around, dare I say it, that the premium market is where most of the action is. Almost the volume market becomes a niche. And the last thing I'll show you on here is if we just look at further up the market, because every area's premium market is slightly different depending on where you are in the country. Let's look at £1 million and above. So as you might expect, £1 million plus sales only account for 3-4% of all of the transactions. That makes sense. However, that 3.6% of all of the transactions accounts for 26% of all of the estate agency fees that are available in the whole industry. It's just absolutely crazy. And the last thing I wanted to show you was what that means to you. And I've used an example. So this was an estate agent that was there's a member of Relocation Agent Network, and I used them because it made it relevant on the webinar. And I've blanked out all the information to make it non-personal. This is a 2-branch estate agency operating in a very normal part of the country. There's nothing really exceptional about it from that perspective. And what we looked at here was exchanges, just exchanges, over £750,000 in value in their area, if you like. And if you took that and said, okay, let's just go for a 7.5% market share. So that puts them, where are we? Into 4th place here in the leaderboard of all of the exchanges that happen there. So still 3 other companies that are more successful than them. And let's just assume for everything that they exchange, they charged a 1.5% fee, which is actually normal, bordering on conservative for the premium market. But let's just say it to not over-egg it. That is an additional £364,000 worth of revenue to that business, to that business's bottom line. That is an incredible amount of money. And the way I say that's additional is because that's not anything to do with their core brand. They have a normal volume residential estate agency business, and that can carry on doing what it's doing and doing brilliantly. This is an additional marketplace that they weren't in at all. They weren't on this leaderboard, barely touched anything at this price point. And there's no reason why they shouldn't. Fantastic agent, they should be competing in this marketplace. And then if you look even more slightly ambitious, maybe further along in time perhaps, let's say we got to 12.5% of that marketplace. So that takes us into second place there. That's worth £607,000, so £608,000 of additional revenue that's currently being left on the table because they are not focusing on the premium marketplace. The competitors on that leaderboard, all good agents, none of them doing anything absolutely insanely, exceptionally different that this agent couldn't deliver them. You need a differentiated brand, proposition, service, of course you do for that market, but nothing that's out of the reach of pretty much anyone that's going to end up watching this webinar anyway. So I wanted to share that with you, and the last thing we said is a Q&A, which we can't do because this is a pre-recorded video, so that ain't going to work. But if you do have any questions, or more to the point, if you want me to do that analysis for your marketplace in your area, I'd be very happy to. Just let me know and I can do the stats for you and see what it'd be worth for your business. And that's it. See you in the next one. Bye.